I became the demon that you needed, that you wanted to fit your narrative, to fit your story, to fit the excuses that you would make to others for your situation. I didn't know what a temper was until you taught me. I didn't know what violence was or what a fight was until your boyfriends taught me. What you did teach me is that my words would not be heard, that no one would hear or listen to what I was saying when I said, don't do that. No, stop. This isn't right. Why are you doing this? That would go unheard until I used violence. And if I was using violence, my hands, to protect you or to protect my brother, I was celebrated. I was finally given praise. So of course, I continue to do it more. That's what you're supposed to do, right? You're supposed to protect family. You're supposed to stand up for them. That's what we were taught. That's how we were all raised. But you get to a certain point and you start asking yourself, why is no one protecting me? And if I used my hands and the violence that you taught me and that was celebrated by you to protect myself, then I was called crazy. Then I was told I had issues. But if I did it, or if I was your attack dog for someone who had wronged you or my brother, I was celebrated. And then if I took and came home with these same hands, broken, swollen, bloody knuckles, your solution and your boyfriend's solution was to take those same hands that were already swollen, hurting, and hit them again. Oh, we're going to teach him to not use violence by using violence and further damaging his already broken hands that we wanted him to use. But that did teach me that I could block out the physical pain. That was easy. I could sit there, I could take the lashings, punching your boyfriend, punching my already broken hands, and I could ignore that pain as long as it saved me from the mental anguish I was dealing with. Physical pain was easier to block out. So thank you for that. It taught me that I could ignore physical pain. And if I went and I got a job and I was accomplishing things and I was becoming successful, that didn't fit your narrative. It didn't fit your story. So you had to end that. So I had to stay out late nights trying to track down my little brother who was out doing drugs, doing whatever he wanted, and he never got in trouble for it. But I got in trouble for things that I never even did. And if I started to make something of myself, that made you jealous. You see, you see it in the movies, you hear about it. And I really hate using the word nowadays because it is so overused. But you see, in order to defeat a demon, you've got to know that demon and know that demon's name. As soon as you know them by their name, then you can defeat them. But see, a lot of us growing up, we all grew up the same. Our parents all acted the same. Like we owed them. Like we owed our parents for us being alive. And seems logical until you realize that it isn't. And that way of thinking is not correct. That you don't owe your life to your parents just for being born. But they will, certain ones will, hold it against you. But if I had a job, I had to help pay bills. But my little brother, he didn't even have to have a job. And once you realize all these traits are traits of the same demon, the narcissistic parent, and again, I hate using that word because everyone uses it for anything now, but going to an actual therapist helped me name that demon. And no, I'm never going to get the closure from you. That's why I do this. Because I've approached you with these things before, and you deny, and make me sound like I'm crazy. But my vacation time, my sick time, my 401k, as soon as you found out how much was in there, it was what? A week, 2 weeks later that I was made to feel guilty. I had to drain every bit of it to help you out, to pay for an attorney, to pay for bail for my little brother. And not a thank you from anyone. It's just expected. That's just what family does. 18 years old, you get a settlement, you put a down payment on a car, you give me a portion of a down payment for a vehicle, and I hear about that at any time you need anything for the rest of my life. That's brought up. Your car gets repoed. My car gets paid off. I've never seen you pay off a vehicle in your life. Now my car is the family car. Because you helped me with the down payment. And you don't have one. You don't have a car. My little brother doesn't have a car. I'm the only one with a car. But when that car breaks and it needs fixing, suddenly it's my car again. Well, wait, last week I thought it was a family car. I thought it was for everyone because you helped with the down payment. Oh, no, that's your car. I'm not helping pay for those repair bills. But you were the one that was driving it when it broke. Same thing with my little brother. How many times did the rear end in that car go out when he was driving it? And I was working out of town, letting him drive it. During the week when I wasn't there, letting him drive it to school. I come home one weekend, I'm in the driveway cleaning my car. His friends come over. Why is your brother washing your car? Wait, whose car? This is my car. Oh, he said it was his. No, it's not. But that same car, when we moved from St. Louis to Georgia, gave you the down payments or the monthly payments to send in my regular payment and 2 extra payments. Those payments never got made. Because I knew we were moving, I was going to need time to find a job, so I paid ahead. You took that money. No one believed me. Oh, but that's your mom. That's your mom. Your mother would never do that. That was the issue for the longest time. And what completely drove me insane is nobody would believe the things that you actually did. They would all think it was me. And I didn't understand why for the longest time. Why does no one believe me? Because you had already laid the groundwork to make me your scapegoat. You had already talked bad about me to everyone around. So no matter what I said, if I told them the truth, they wouldn't believe me. So you would never have to take responsibility. So it was better for you to deny your actions and make your kid feel like they were completely insane, that they had issues, that they would never fit in, just so you wouldn't have to accept responsibility for the things that you actually did. It's awful. And I'm not the only one that's dealt with a parent like this. And then that's why this stuff needs to get out, so these other people don't get trapped like I did. But that's the traits of your character. That's what happens with your personality type. There's a golden child, and there is the whipping post. I happen to be the whipping post. The golden child is the golden child because they give you purpose. They make you feel needed. Me, you taught me to be independent, that I didn't need anyone because I didn't have anyone. If I asked for help, I was always told no. We didn't have it, couldn't happen, didn't have time, didn't have the ability, didn't have the money. But if you needed help or my brother needed help, I was made to feel terrible if I didn't. But I couldn't get the same help in return. And again, I became your whipping post because at 25, 28 years old, I had already accomplished all the things that you never could in life. And that bothered you. So instead of celebrating your child and saying how great they were doing, you tried to take credit for all of my accomplishments that had nothing to do with you, that you weren't even around for. And then when I started to realize, once I started hanging out with people who had normal parents, when I started to realize some of the things that were going on, and when you all called me to bail my little brother out again, pay for an attorney again, and I said, no, you didn't talk to me for 3 years. Because I put myself ahead of I put my needs, so I chose to pay my bills, put my needs ahead of your wants. That and that bothered you. So you ghosted me for years. And when I started to become successful and started taking care of myself, you would call me spoiled. How am I spoiled? Because I go to work, I accomplish the things that I want to accomplish, and I take care of myself. And then you guilt trip me. If I go out and buy something for myself, you guilt trip me because I didn't buy you something. Oh, Brandon went out and spent all his blah, blah money on this. Yeah, and? I don't have, just because I bought myself something doesn't mean I have to buy you something. That's not how this works. I don't owe you anything. I am taking care of myself, not you. You're an adult. You are the one who is supposed to take care of you and me. But in your world, everyone is supposed to take care of you. How is it that me, the child, I'm treated like one of your ex-husbands, where I'm supposed to take care of you and my little brother, and that's my job? No, it's your job as a parent to take care of me. But at 14 years old, 15, I'm getting a job to help pay bills. No. You're supposed to take care of me, not the other way around. But, so that car, those payments that you took, I paid that car off. You've never paid a car off in your life. I sell that car. I've got a business. I'm getting married. I need a bigger vehicle. I go out, start car shopping. I find a couple. I put in credit apps. I get turned down. Or if I do get approved, it's at 6, 7 points, 23, 24, 28% interest. How is this? I've never missed a payment. I've paid everything off. I paid off my credit cards, my cell phones, my car payments. Why am I getting turned down? And you're going with me to these dealerships. Well, I don't know what their problem is. I don't know why they're doing this. It's got to be this or this. But back then, 20-something years ago, you didn't have websites, Credit Karma, this, that, and the other, where you could check your credit. It wasn't until I went into a dealership by myself, because apparently this is common enough for these dealerships to understand, and they weren't going to say anything with you there. I finally go into one dealership by myself, and I'm talking to the salesperson, talking to the business manager. I'm like, man, I don't get this. This doesn't make any sense. I've had credit cards, cell phones, and this car, and that's all I've ever had. And I've never missed a payment on any of them, and I've paid them all off. Paid as agreed. He said, man, I'm not supposed to do this, but there's something you need to know. They print my bureau for me. They bring it out, and they show me everything. I've got student loans, school books, bad checks, bank accounts, utility bills, rent, all kinds of things on my credit that I never signed up for. And now I can reach out to these creditors now that I know who they are, because I didn't know they existed prior to this, and figure out where this stuff came from. It came from you. It was your address. It was you using my information to go out and take on all this debt, sign up for all these places, because you had ruined your credit, and mine was great. And how did you justify that to yourself? Because I owed you, because you gave me the down payment for that car. Thanks. So now the next vehicle that I go out and get costs me twice as much as it should, because you gave me a couple grand for a down payment. Now, a nice, low mileage, well-running, quality vehicle is unaffordable for me. Now I've got to get a POS, high miles, that I've got to work on constantly. But again, it taught me how to work on vehicles. Why? Because I never had the money to take them in to get them fixed. Because my money went to you. And then I'm out there working on the vehicle myself, by myself, buying all the parts with no help. But when everybody else's vehicle breaks down, guess who they come to? Or if your vehicle gets repoed, whose vehicle do you come and borrow? Mine. Where's my repayment for that? I don't get any. I don't even get a thank you. It's expected because that's what family does. But if that's what family does, why did no one help me when I needed help? Why was it that if once your boyfriend moved in, he could beat me, he could do whatever he wanted, and I couldn't say anything or do anything, and if I did, I was crazy. I had issues, I needed to leave. But as soon as you were done with him, or as soon as he had cheated on you, or whatever the issue was, as soon as y'all were done, now you wanted to sick me on him. Now that you were done with him. How does that work? If I take care of myself, I'm nuts. If I take care of you, I'm celebrated. Okay. But see, those demons that you have, we know their name now. And so we don't have to deal with them anymore. But you're still going to deny, and act like none of this ever happened. And then even when my grandmother passed away, my dad's side, they wanted to write me out of the will so we could all fight over 20, 30 grand. I mean, I was making that in a month at the time. I'm not going to go to court, spend a ton of money on attorneys and everything else to fight over 20 grand. But you got pissed at me because I didn't. Are you serious? Why? Why? But I will tell you, all of that, going through all of that, just like when you called my job, anything that I ever accomplished that made you feel bad, that made you feel less, you had to do what you needed to do to end it. End anything that I had accomplished. The softball team. Because I wouldn't let you play. You had to come up there, talk to all the team members, tell them some mess, and break up the entire team. And then you're up there watching a game. And we've got a friend of ours, and I won't say her name, but she had been battling some demons of her own. And she had recently gotten out of jail, and she loved softball. And was using softball as her happy place to help with her sobriety. And I don't know a lot of her story, but I do feel bad for her, and I wish I could have done more. But I had to deal with you. She apparently slipped, started using again. And at the end of the game, we all shook hands. We all had a good time. You made it a point to pull everyone to the side and tell them, and videotape this woman twitching, moving, not able to sit still. We all know what she was doing. We all know what she was on. But then you made the comment, oh, I just watched her doing that. And I just sat over there and just laughed and laughed. Why is someone else's destruction Why are someone else's demons so entertaining for you? Because you're disgusting. That was the most horrendous thing that I have ever heard come out of your mouth. I know you've thrown me under the bus a lot, and that's fine. You've taught me that I can handle it. But to see you do that to someone else who did nothing to you, who owed you nothing, but to see you get joy and satisfaction from someone else's demise was completely and totally disgusting. And that's when I lost all of my respect for you. So don't blame it on someone else. Oh, it's his wife. No, it's you. And it's time that you took responsibility for it. You're the one with the issues, not the rest of the world. You are not the only perfect being on the planet, and the rest of the world is messed up and just out to get you. That's not the case, man. It's you. We don't owe you anything. No one. You even thought, oh, my boss bought this new vehicle and they're making 2 car payments a month, and their payments are $1,600 a month, and they're paying $3,200 a month on this new vehicle. They can afford to pay me more. No, it's their business. They built it. They pay you what your position is worth, regardless of how much money they make. Okay? No one owes you anything. No one. And when Papa died, when my uncle quit sending you money, when my dad's $1,000 a month in Social Security quit when I became 18, that burden fell on me as your kid to make up the difference, to take care of you? No, no one owes you anything. And I get it that my little brother is the golden child because he makes you feel better about yourself, because he's never accomplished anything. He's never had a real job, but you always come to me for help because I have a job, because I want to make something of myself. Well, guess what? I'm taking care of myself. And it wasn't until, a few years ago, where some friends of yours, where you had already laid the groundwork, already told them I was this, I was that, I was nuts, blah, blah, blah. Once they started hanging around, because you had met them while we were living in Florida, once they started hanging around me and my wife, they said, oh, wow, you're nothing like Connie made you out to be. What? What do you mean? I'm nothing like she made me out to be. Well, she said y'all were this and y'all didn't do this and it was this, that, and no, we're the ones that pay the bills, and we're the ones that maintain everything, and we're the ones that take care of the yard work and cleaning out the gutters and all this. And oh yeah, well, we see that now. What do you mean now? Oh, she said she was doing all this, and that I was the lazy person not doing anything. No. See, it's actually backwards. The things that she says about me is actually who she is. And the things that she says she is actually who I am. But for the longest time, I became the demon that you said I was. Because I didn't understand. Because family never said anything. No one else had ever said anything until this certain group of friends of yours said and saw what was really going on, and they felt bad. and they called you out on it. And then a little light bulb goes off. And then we go and visit your sister, my aunt. And I say, you know, I've got this paint business. I've got this powder coat business. And I said, don't use this. Don't use my paint. That's all of that color that I have left, and I need it to finish a job. I come home, my paint's in the spray gun. It's being used. After I specifically told you not to use it because that's all I had left to finish a job that I needed to finish to get paid. And what happens? I get pissed. Why aren't you listening? I told you not to use it, but you did it anyway. Why? And then you have the audacity to go, what the F is your problem? You asked me what my problem was because I didn't let my little brother use the only product that I had left to finish a job. Knowing that custom colors, trying to get them mixed and match again, is difficult. I thought he went to school for this. I thought he would understand. No. And then what happens? You use up all of my stuff and then you never replace it. Then I've got to go out, spend more money of my money to replace the stuff that you've used. Just like my powder coat gun that he broke. Well, he goes out and buys another one. Well, okay, cool, let me use this one. Well, no, that one's mine. But you broke mine, but the one that you bought to replace, oh, you didn't buy it to replace it. You bought it for you. So you broke mine and never replaced it. And now you've got one that I can't use because it's yours. But you can use my stuff whenever you want. Okay. But again, I'm made to feel crazy, nuts, insane, like I'm a psycho. Because logically, none of that makes sense. Well, if you lose one of my tools or use some of my product, just replace it. And then we're fine. But no, you all can't do that because you can't take responsibility for what you've done. So your solution is deny, deny, deny. Even though we all know what happened, where it went, how it got there, how it got lost, how it got broken, whatever it is. We know what happened. And that's what aggravates me the most, is when I'm treated like I'm stupid. I've never been stupid. Ever. I took the SATs in 7th grade. Never been stupid. Yet you want to deny and treat me like I am instead of taking responsibility. And then you want to gaslight me and tell me that I'm nuts when I get upset because you're denying it. Dude, it's a $20 pair of channel locks, man. Just run up to the store and buy me some more. No, you'd rather deny it so you don't have to take responsibility. And you taught my little brother the same thing, that he never has to take responsibility. He's 38 years old and can't even transfer his probation. Same thing, just like the car club in Florida. When I was 24, 25 years old, VP of the car club, built the website. We were getting sponsors. We were having to go to Nopi. We were having to go to Slam Fest. We were having to go to lowrider shows to meet our contractual obligations for our sponsorships. Like we were accomplishing something. And then what did you have to do? You had to find out that one of the new members, was a sexual offender for whatever reason, and then go up and then hand his mugshot out to everybody in the car club. Why? Leave people alone, man. And then what happened? That got me kicked out of the car club. But you know, I guess karma really is a bitch, because you did all that to embarrass that man, to call that man out, not knowing the situation, because I'll be the first to tell you that the courts will throw you under the bus. So I don't judge anybody until I know all of the facts, regardless of what you've been labeled as. And I learned that by watching you judge the piss out of everyone around you. But now your son is a registered sexual offender. My little brother. So, man, I guess karma is a bitch, right? Because you did all that to someone else, and now look, now you've got a kid that's one. But you make every excuse in the world for that. You didn't want to tell anyone about that, wanted to keep it under wraps, keep it hidden forever. You told people that he was in school, blah, 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 while he was in prison for 6 years for guns, drugs, sexual offender. That's the stuff I didn't help bail him out for, because I bailed him out once and you didn't talk to me for years after that. But man, I don't do anything wrong and you'll throw me under the bus in a heartbeat. And then that's what I realized. If somebody is talking bad about their so-called friends when they're not around, you can guarantee that they're doing it to you when you're not around. Never did I realize that that would be my own mother. But it was. But in the end, like I said, I know that you're never going to admit to anything that you've ever done. And there's way more to it than that, man. You know, outside of the, mental abuse, physical abuse, I mean, I was locked in a closet for 8-10 hours by Cliff. Long enough for me to be able to, at what was that, sixth grade? Long enough for me to be in there and quietly cut a hole through the fake wood paneling in our single wide trailer in order to escape, and do it quietly to where he couldn't hear me. And that was after he beat me for 2.5 hours. But going through all of that, and yeah, for a while, I became the demon that you needed to fit the story and the fairy tale that you were trying to lead. But becoming that demon helped me realize that I can survive. I can make it on my own because I've been on my own. And when I couldn't hang around you and your junkie friends when you all were strung out in St. Louis, because it's not the environment I wanted to be in, I had nowhere to go. So I was homeless, sleeping in the car that you stole the payments on. But thankfully, we got that taken care of. But I was sleeping in that car. And Stanley was off with the gypsies, actual gypsies, robbing gas stations, everything else, not going to school at 14. You were hanging out with your junkie friends in St. Louis City. Stanley was out in the county, St. Louis County, robbing, stealing, whatever. I was working a job. I was hustling. I was doing other stuff to make money. I mean, I did what I needed to do to take care of myself. But, like I said, through all of that mess, thank you. Because you taught me that I could block out the physical pain, that I could survive, that I could make it, because through all of that, to get here today, I was able to survive you.